is up, RotoGrinders? I don't know if you guys heard a different song, but that was a new song. Was that a remix? The producer Steve hit the wrong button. I don't know what just happened there. Kyle, did you hear something?
Yeah, that was new for me too. Had me vibing a little bit. Not gonna lie.
I did not anticipate that. Steve did not give us a heads up, and I'm not sure if that's actually what was played or not. But that was fantastic. I don't know if that was an homage to Afro Man. I'm not really well aware of his catalog, but I know he's in the news these days.
We're gonna get hit with the copyright for that one.
Oh no,
that was a Pharrell beat, if you know Pharrell.
Oh yeah, I'm aware. But
so yeah, it's big time. We might get hit with that one.
Well, demonetized in record time. What's up, chat? Hit that like button, do subscribe, turn on those notifications. We have an hour and 45 minutes until lock. Coming out a little bit late because of a combination platter of a shortened slate. 5 games on DK. FanDuel is insisting that we talk about Toronto and Denver. DK said enough. Just 7:30, 8 o'clock. We have a sprint slate, a 5-gamer over there. And also 7:30. We're starting 7:30 on the East Coast. Myself and Kyle, we're here for the first hour on a Film Friday. Hit that like button. Hit it enough times to get our first clue. Give away a week free of RG Premium. Discord channel, that's where you give those answers. RotoGrinders.com/Discord. The live stream chat channel, that's a free Discord channel. 1 guess per clue drop. We'll be having those clues scrolling momentarily. Just as long as you caress, you tap, you hit the good old like button. Cloud over the slates, Kyle, because it can definitely flip on its head a couple times. We have 2 potential cheap centers that might get unleashed. Cat is currently questionable. Now he plays in the very first game at 7:30. There's 2 games at 7:30. The other guy is Jalen Duren, Detroit's own. He's questionable as well. And then we'd see Paul Reed, and we all of a sudden have a double punt at center as far as the chalk. That's where we're at right now. We're in a holding pattern. If we don't know, Crunch Time's going to know. Crunch Time coming in about an hour or so. We have Noto, the Notorious one, as well as I think it's Kirkwood. Kirkdiese. I believe that is the combination we have on layaway. Kyle, how are things? Happy Friday.
Yeah, Friday of March Madness week. It doesn't even feel like Friday to me. I think it's like 70 degrees here, and I was outside a little bit earlier today, which is, uncommon for me sometimes on these, massive sports days where you got college basketball on in the morning and then now you got NBA. So it feels like a Saturday for me, but yeah, looking forward to talking some hoops.
Shout out to the chat. Hoosier saying Banner says, just got home from the Super China buffet with some takeout. You do takeout of the buffet. Is that a thing? Takeout of the buffet, Kyle? I don't know. Is that something? I guess that's a thing. That's a strange concept to me. I don't know why, but
they 100% charge you extra to take it home.
Yeah, there's got to be something going on there.
They hit you with the charge fee if you want to take home from the buffet, but that's balling.
Wait, you're saying
madness, baby?
You're saying you eat and then you're full and then you ask for a to-go box, or you just
if you have extra food on your plate that you didn't finish, or you hit the to-go box, they hit you with a charge at the buffet.
Fair enough. All right. Madness going on, March Madness going on. What do we have as far as the we do have Villanova. Villanova down 1. Weren't they just ahead by 10 a few minutes ago? And Miami of Ohio is down about 20. It's about midnight for Miami, Ohio. Appears like about 15 minutes left to go. The only game that matters, obviously, of course, UCF. UCF, the Knights are taking on UCLA in about an hour and a half. Kyle, I did mention hanging over this slate, the big news that we're waiting for. What's going to happen with Jalen Duren? He did hit the locker room last night. They're the only team in the back half of a back-to-back. They got Golden State tonight. There's 4 teams in the front end. That's Atlanta, Golden State. They play each other tomorrow, actually, Atlanta and Golden State. Houston on the front end and Memphis on the front end. So their shenanigans, it doesn't matter if they're Allen games or not, but the shenanigans are certainly in play for Memphis. I think we just got a downgrade for Coward. So they could potentially be down. Is he officially out or is he questionable?
Still questionable, but we are ruling him doubtful in the projections. Taking a little bit of a stand there, but I feel like it's pretty likely he sits at this point. I mean, obviously Memphis is not really trying much these days, and it's personal. So that just seems like he's probably not going to play to me.
The best predictor of future behavior is past behavior, and Memphis's past behavior has suggested that he ain't playing. We'll see, but he's probably not playing. So they're down. Is it 9 or 10? 10, right? Is that what I'm saying? I think it's 10. Okay, 10 players for Memphis. Did you ever see anything like Utah last night where they played 8 players? They played that guy with 2 last names, Anderson Garcia or something like that, Laredo player, 48 minutes, and they won by 30. Like they had no interest in winning. They won by 30 points. They played 8 players. That was the weirdest box score. I didn't really follow it a heck of a lot because it was not on the slate, but that was really strange. And the GM must have been furious. They must have been really angry. They tried 8 players. They won by 30 with somebody's got to win when 2 terrible teams are playing each other. You want to give me an overview, a screenshot? I kind of suggested, if we happen to get Duran out, Paul Reed's going to be just an amazing play. And if we happen to lose Cat, like right now, Mitrov projects pretty decent. He actually has a pretty good projection right now. And he would grab some more minutes taking on Brooklyn, one of the more inferior teams when it comes to rebounding the basketball. So, that we're kind of sort of waiting on that, That's 2 things that, for me, I think they're really going to shape the slate. And even if we don't have that, there's other stuff. Minnesota, of course, still without Ant, which is pretty meaningful. Cunningham, done for almost definitely the regular season. Hopefully he comes back there for your Pistons at some point with his lung. But it looks like it's going to be the Jenkins show for the foreseeable future. I think he's bad, by the way, just as a side. I don't think he's good. But he took a bunch of shots last night. The opportunity was there. But, he's still cheap enough where you can consider him, especially on DK. But how are you seeing the slate? General views before we dive in and go game by game.
Yeah, I think you broke it down pretty good. Obviously, the injury pieces you covered. I would say, Naz Reid also questionable. So him and Edwards being out would open up a good amount of usage. Obviously, Edwards is going to be out for at least a couple of weeks, maybe even a little bit longer. But regardless, that's kind of the way the Timberwolves shake up. Obviously, you mentioned Cade being out. If Duran is also out, that's the 2 highest usage players also being out for the Pistons. So that, and obviously with everything else going on in the slate, Memphis is going to be without a few guys that are high usage as well. I'm expecting no Coward. Jackson's already out. Pippen's already out. Obviously, all the big names aren't playing. So it could be 40% usage night for Ty Jerome in the 24-25 minutes that he's going to play. So that's also an interesting point to make there in terms of the injury stuff. But obviously the Cat news, like you also mentioned, it's going to be something that is certainly worth monitoring. I think we did just get word that they recalled Dadier from the G League. That could be because of the likely blowout with, I think it's a 17.5 point spread. It could also be, maybe some potential tea leaf reading there with Cat likely to sit. I mean, I would be surprised if he played with a 17.5 point spread, but I think Duran, if he's able to go, he's going to play just because obviously with no Cade, the Pistons need to not only still try to win games, but try to figure out some of what their identity is going to be if they have to play playoff games without Cade. So I certainly think that he will go if he can. Cat, I'm pretty much can't really rule him doubtful right now, but I would probably be surprised if he does play.
Yeah, I don't want to speculate. I didn't see the news, but they said, it was personal. I mean, I don't know what's going on with him. Hopefully everything's all right. But generally speaking, when you get that personal tag, generally they're not playing. And like you said, do they really need him against Brooklyn? Probably not. Brooklyn is happy to oblige as far as taking the L and giving the W to New York, 17, 18-point favorites. It's kind of a bummer because one of my favorite plays in the slate is Keita for Boston. And he'll become very hard to play if both those players are out. We'll get there when we get there. But yeah, because I saw in the chat was asking about who do you prefer if both these players are out amongst Mitrov and if Duran happens to sit as well and Paul Reed. I was looking at if then stuff. We have a 40-point median projection for Paul Reed at around 30 minutes. And Mitrov is really, really good, but not that good. About 36, 37, 38 on FanDuel. So, yeah, you can only roster one center on FanDuel, too. So it's going to be tough to get away from both those guys. All right. But you mentioned the Jerome thing. I don't know if you were watching. You probably were, or you keep an eye. They refused to let him play 25 mintes. He 24 and change. No more than 25. But yeah, he had something like 21, 9, and 9 with 6 minutes to go. Let the guy get his triple-double. You're up 10 or so on Denver. You figure Denver's going to come back. Joker was not playing great. He had 10 turnovers or so. Wasn't his best game. And they just sat him on the bench. They had no interest. He played 25 minutes or so, and they were trying to lose, and, Denver would not oblige. So they just could not come back in time. And, yeah, Jerome has been I know Tim shouted him out. He was talking about him yeah, I like him too, but just they just refuse there's like no scenario where this guy plays 25 plus minutes. But yeah, he was spectacular in his, well, I guess it was 25 or 24 and change. Okay. For today's Movie Monday, here we go. First clue scrolling right now is wedding. Did I say Movie Monday? It is Film Friday. Jeez, you said it didn't feel like a Friday. Doesn't feel like a Monday either. I don't know what day it feels like, but I'm all screwed up. Again, Discord channel. Tell me what film. This is a film. This is cinema. Tell me what film I'm talking about in the Discord channel. All right. Yeah, RotoGrinders.com/Discord live stream chat channel. First person to do so, get yourself a week free of RotoGrinders Premium or Scores and Odds, whichever you prefer. Dealer's choice. First game is Golden State at Detroit. Again, there's some paths. We'll do the if-then stuff in a second. 217.5 is the total. Detroit. Your Pistons are 5-point favorites at home versus Golden State. We did mention, Cade Cunningham just out for the foreseeable future. Jalen Duren is questionable as well. We know Beef Stew is out, so they'll be really thin on the inside if both happen to be gone. Kevin Huerter also got a midday downgrade. I shouldn't say midday downgrade. This is their first injury report because they played last night. So just like Duren, Huerter gets the questionable tag. Golden State, no Post, no Curry's. Horford's out. Moody's still out. Cryer is probable. Yeah. How are we seeing Detroit versus the Warriors? I know it's an if-then conversation.
Yeah, certainly, the thesis of this game comes down to whether Duren plays or not. He's had a 30.5 plus usage in the back-to-back games with no Cade. So obviously he's going to, always have the double-double upside, but now he has 30-10 upside every single night. And, this is a spot where he's going to be playing either a defense that doesn't have the size to match up with him, or he's just more athletic or, stronger than everybody on the floor. So I think it would be a really good spot for him if he does play. Obviously, you mentioned Dennis Jenkins. I tend to agree. I think there was like a stretch early in the year where he was playing really well, and then he got converted to a full-time deal, and his performance has gone down significantly. So, not saying that he's going to, he's there for the bag and get out of there, but the on-court performance, I would say, does lean towards that sort of discussion. And he has been forced to talk about it in the media as well because he was, out of the rotation for a couple of games, and then obviously put back in rotation with injury stuff. But yeah, I agree. The usage and the price tags are fine for Jenkins, but I tend to agree. I don't think he's all that great of a player. Those are the only two guys that I have interest in currently. I think you could play Paul Reed just because he's probably going to play, the non-Jalen Duren minutes anyway. And then, if Duren plays and maybe he gets into foul trouble or, God forbid, tweaks his injury again, or maybe there's a blowout. I think there are paths to Reed getting there on, 17 or 18 minutes, but then also playing more minutes. So Reed might be like a tournament flyer that I have some interest in, but other than that, those are the only 2 or 3 names on the Pistons side that I like. On the Warriors side, don't really have a ton of interest. The one that projects the best for me is Santos, but he's kind of priced up here at, 6-7 on DraftKings. Porzingis, similar to the Ty Jerome stuff, like he's just never going to really get a ton of run, and I don't think he's as good of a permanent guy as some other players in this range. So at 6-2, I will probably not get to Porzingis, but he'd probably be the only guy that I would really consider on the Warriors.
Clowney officially out for Brooklyn. I think we might have projected that, if I'm not mistaken. I think you're projecting him out. I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. So now he's officially not playing. We'll talk about them in a second. I do think that Detroit's own Draymond Green is kind of interesting. Porzingis as well. Kind of a cause and effect thing. I don't really like to pick on Detroit defense, but what if we lose Duren and we already have Beef Stew out? I think life's going to be a lot easier for Draymond. So I think you get yourself a nice little mini stack as well. That's something I'm considering. It's kind of the if-then, and I'm not really into Draymond so much if Beef is out there. But, no, Beef's not going to be out there. Definitely not going to be out there. Duren's out there. Which, by the way, what's the live odds of like Draymond and Duren getting into some sort of kerfuffle? That seems likely, right?
Yeah. Or, I mean, I think it would be more likely if they had Beef Stew there. But,
Yeah, the two of them. But
although he might be on his best behavior there. Maybe obviously Izzo won't be in the crowd because he's playing in March Madness tomorrow, I think. But he maybe he'll be on good behavior since he's back home.
Okay. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. He probably has friends. You think Draymond Green's friends and family still care to watch him play? Is it still exciting now? It's like, it's basically over. He had a hell of a run. Good for him. But do they still want to go? Are they like, oh, man, we got to go to the game, don't we?
I mean, probably free tickets and probably some pretty nice setups. So I think that, they probably don't, I would imagine they don't come to Detroit any more than 1 or 2 times a year. So I would assume that they still get pretty excited for it.
Yeah, I would imagine.
They not care anymore, but they probably do.
Guesses coming on through in the Discord channel. But our guess is, you guessed anyone but you. It is not anyone but you. Shout out to Bobby. I know he's a big fan of that movie. It's not The Godfather or Joe versus the Volcano or The Hangover or Bridesmaids or So I Married an Axe Murderer or The Bride of Frankenstein. If people thought I was doing a thing with dodgeball, I figured somebody would guess dodgeball. Shout out Chuck Norris. We gave him the backdrop, if nothing else. Kyle, did you know that Chuck Norris does not wear a watch? He just decides what time it is. Did you know that?
I didn't, but I know now. That does sound like a familiar joke, though.
Did you know he doesn't turn left because he's always right?
I did know that. Yeah.
I got 100 more of these. If you just, I can keep going. Do you remember when this was a thing? Do you remember when the internet was excited about Chuck Norris jokes? Do you remember this?
Yeah. I didn't want to say this, but since you asked again, I'm going to say it was this is like middle school for me.
Okay.
So I didn't want to age myself or age you out, but
fine.
middle school is when the Chuck Norris jokes were real popular for me.
Yeah. All right. There's a whole bunch more. The next gong, I'll drop a couple more, but we also got a second clue for Film Friday. It is comedy. So wedding comedy. That is our 2 clues. Get that Discord channel. It's not American Wedding. It's not Wedding Crashers. Not The Hangover. Let's continue. We're done, I think, with Detroit and Golden State, right? We're done with that game? I believe so.
Yeah.
New York and Brooklyn, 213.5 is a total. It's a very unappealing number. Brooklyn's got a team total sub 100, 98 to get all precise and technical. We just got the rule out of Clowney, which we anticipated. We assumed that's what was going down there.
Oh, and we just got Cat will play for James Edwards.
Oh, okay. So now we can play Kata. All right. That's you could still play Bitch Rob, by the way. We'll talk about it. But yeah, kind of surprised that Cat is in. Okay, so Cat in, Josh Hart out. Anybody else? I mean, we haven't seen McBride in forever. We just got Clowney out. They said Michael Porter Jr. is going to be reevaluated in 2 to 3 weeks. You know what they just should tell us? What should they tell us, Kyle?
Probably he's not going to play anymore.
Tell us he's done for the season. Like, what are we doing? Why are we playing games? We have a calendar. We know you have no interest in winning games. Going to be reevaluating in 2 or 3 weeks. It's just insulting Brooklyn. We know he's not playing. That's it. Just call it. Call the fight. Yeah, he's done for the year. I'm calling it. How about that? I'm calling it. Come at me if I'm wrong. J-Ron Sharp's out for Daron Sharp's out for the season. Zaire Williams is available with his hand. Terrence Mann, he had the fish. He's ill. He's not going to be playing basketball tonight. Yeoman, they rolled him out for the season as well. Yeah, New York and Brooklyn, Cat in, who I don't think anybody was thinking about playing Cat all day long, and ownership's going to reflect that. Certainly you can. I know Mitch Rob projects really, really well according to our projections because just being out there for 20 or so minutes against this Brooklyn team, and he's pretty cheap. Strong point per dollar play. Brunson, another guy, just not going to get played. Brooklyn, not a tough team per se, but blowout, slow pace, fewer possessions. How are you seeing the Battle of New York?
Well, hopefully I won't be seeing it. I don't want to watch any part of this game.
Same.
And honestly, this is a game that I have no real interest in. The only 2 players that are projecting within range of me liking are Mitch Rob and Landry Shamet. I will say though, last time I was on the on GrindersLive, or maybe it was Crunch Time with you, one of the 2, and I talked about Jordan Clarkson in the blowout, and that ended up going pretty well. I think that might have been the game he played Utah.
Revenge.
Yeah. I don't think he's played on the Nets. I mean, he could have, but I don't think so. But regardless, the idea behind Clarkson is he's probably going to play at least some minutes regardless because of obviously Josh Hart, McBride being injured. He's played 20-plus minutes in 3 of the last 4 games. And they don't need to play him in a blowout. But, I mean, I could see them still playing him in a blowout. And he's only 3,800, so I think he would actually be my favorite play from this game. Maybe just get a few extra minutes there in the 4th where he can go and play 5 minutes and shoot the ball 15 times like he likes to do most. But yeah, that game against Utah, 27 points, 38.5 DK points. So Clarkson, probably my favorite player from this game. Doesn't project all that great. I think there is more like, you need some things to go right for him to really perform well. But, if he plays 20 minutes or so and then maybe gets like 4 or 5 extra minutes from the middle, maybe he gets some ceiling performance there. So I think Clarkson probably my favorite play from the game, but not a ton of interest here.
I imagine you would have handed this. 13 players for Brooklyn are projected to play at least some semblance of basketball tonight. Nobody projected for more than 24 minutes. Just lunacy, just ridiculous. Just big old X, right? There's no chance for playing anybody in Brooklyn.
Yeah, no shot. The only one that like I could maybe talk myself into would be, I'm not even gonna try it. No.
Who are you gonna say? Agbaji? Who are you gonna say?
I was gonna say Traore, I think, but
Yeah.
Or however you say his name, but because he played 27 minutes last game, 30. His usage has been insane over the last 4 games that he's played. 23% usage rate or higher. 2 of his last 3, 34%. He's just shooting the ball a ton, but I mean, he's not like super cheap. He is 4-1, but I would rather play Jordan Clarkson, I think, in this game. But I just don't. I just can't get to it. But if I had to talk myself into someone, it would be him.
Yeah, somebody's got to shoot, right? Yeah, 35%, 25%, 38%. But the minutes 26, 16, 17.
Well, someone has to shoot for Brooklyn, but that doesn't mean it has to go in.
Doesn't have to go in. That's true. There's no rule that says it has to go in.
Yeah, 98 implied team total.
They are professionally trained to play. It's my understanding. So, like in theory,
yeah.
But are we ever going to see like what I'm forgetting the guy's name now for Utah, Anderson Garcia? Are we going to get one of those out of Brooklyn, or it's just this is what it is? Like Memphis and Brooklyn, unless they're down to like 8 or so, if they have the bodies, or just it's hard to. I'm just saying, can we anticipate? I guess you can't, but the likelihood of somebody out of Brooklyn out of nowhere playing 35 minutes is just you can't really project that. You don't see it happening.
No, I mean they have 13 guys, and like I think the Anderson Garcia can play 48 minutes because he's not good, and they want not good guys on the floor.
He played great.
So, yeah. So,
game number 3 is Atlanta and Houston. 226.5 is the total. This is the 8 o'clock game. There's 3 games in the 8 o'clock window as far as who's in and out in this one. Houston, same old, nothing new here. Steven Adams done for the year. FEV hasn't played all season long. We haven't seen Tatum forever. And Atlanta, they're pretty clean with the exception of Kuminga. I did say that Atlanta tomorrow night plays Golden State, so maybe he's resting up. Maybe Kuminga's resting up for his revenge. He's very angry, and I think he doesn't like Golden State. I feel like it's pretty safe to say probably does not like that organization, or at least Steve Kerr, if nothing else. How you feeling about the Rockets and the Hawks? The Hawks, the hottest team in basketball. Is it 11 straight? I think it's 11 straight W's. Is that correct? I think so.
Yeah, I would say either them or the Pelicans are the 2 hottest teams right now.
The Pels, they've won 3 in a row and 6 of 10, that's a hot streak for them for sure. Yeah.
I think since DeJounte Murray's came back, though, I think they're one of the better teams in the West, and that obviously small sample, but yeah, they've been good with Murray back in full strength.
I mean, nobody's talking about it. I guess I understand why, but he's been awesome, since going back, and both him and Tatum have I think, surpassed the Achilles expectation. And I know Murray was talking about how they probably would have made some noise this year. I pumped the brakes a little bit, but yeah, that definitely would have been better. Yeah. Probably better than Portland and Golden State, maybe, possibly, in that play-in nonsense. But tonight, Houston and Atlanta, what do you got?
Yeah, I do have some interest in this game. I think it's one of the better games on the board. High total, tight spread, so that's always good to see. Şengün and Amen Thompson project pretty well. It's worth noting that Şengün has been, at least over the course of the last couple months, a guy who they haven't pushed minutes a ton at times. Like they've been playing Jabari Smith, Amen Thompson, Kevin Durant a bunch of minutes, but Şengün's kind of been lacking in like the real ceiling games in terms of minutes, but did play 37 minutes last game. So if that's a spot where they're kind of ramping that back up now, he could be in for another solid ceiling performance there. So Şengün, probably my favorite player from Houston, also like Amen Thompson. But I think Durant, Jabari Smith, both also firmly in play. I would say probably have more interest in the Houston side than the Atlanta side, but Jalen Johnson, you can always make a case for. I think with price considered, I'd probably prefer Şengün at $2,000 cheaper in this game, but still, obviously, Jalen Johnson, we know what we can get in terms of ceiling for him. McCollum projects okay as well. I think he's someone that could benefit from this sort of game environment where there's a lot of expected scoring. So at 31 minutes where we haven't projected 6,200 on DraftKings, he's not bad, but I do think I prefer the guys on Houston that I mentioned a little bit more.
Ownership stuff right now, currently on DK, we have Amen for 26%, Jalen Johnson at 21%. Almost got his third triple-double last time out in a row. Did not quite get there. McCollum, you mentioned 19%, KD 17, Nah 13, who's had some big games of late. Şengün looked a little better, coming back from that. He was sat out for some games. He did have a good bounce-back game, and I don't think he's going to get rostered a heck of a lot. You're looking at 11%, and that would definitely plummet if we happen to lose Jalen Duren. I should just take a peek and see if there's anything different on FanDuel, something similar. KD 25, Amen 25, Daniels at 20, Jalen at 17. He's 11K over there. What happened to Notorious, Kyle? Is he just somebody that overachieved, and is he like somewhere in the middle, like he was overachieving before and he can't be this bad now?
I mean, I think it's just tough for him. I think his role is just kind of up in the air because he's a guy who in the past was a really efficient rebounder, but when you have, at times he's playing shooting guard on this team. So it's you have Amen Thompson, who's maybe one of the better rebounders amongst guards in the NBA. Şengün's going to soak up a lot of that as well. Jabari Smith, who could easily play the 5 for a lot of teams, plays the 4 here. So I think it's just a tough rebounding role for him right now with the lineups that he's playing with a lot. But I still think he's a solid player. I think it's just a tough fit for the role here.
Yeah, just feels like he kind of hit the skids. Looking at his career, this is a career low, 41.8% as far as shooting from the field. Last season, almost 49. Previous that, 46, 44. So he was going up, and then he's very much plummeted this year. And they said maybe a good answer is possibly he's just playing out of position.
Yeah, and he's also been forced, at least from what I've seen, to take. He's shooting more threes this year. I think at least last time I checked, he was. So that also will hurt obviously the efficiency. So yeah,
he made a 3 on March 5th, but he has not made one since then. And Don Yeezy in chat says he's 0 for 27 at this point. I can't quite add this up in my head, but it looks like it might be 27 misfires in a row, which that seems bad. I mean, I think that's definitely, or he's due. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's not good. But he's cheaper. In theory, it's Tari Easton's pretty cheap. I think he's 5.3 on FanDuel. It's just he hasn't quite paid that off for even in the absence of Şengün, he wasn't really able to take advantage of it. Okay, keeping that like button, do subscribe, do turn on those notifications. We have a crunch time coming in in about 30 minutes or so. We have the Notorious one, Derek Farnsworth, Noto, as well as Kirkwood, Kirkdiese, jumping on the show. Blazers taking on the T-Wolves, 231.5 is a total. This is high and tight, reasonably high, pretty high. One of the higher games on the slate. 231 is a pretty big number. And Minnesota is just a 1.5 point favorite here. The big news, the headline here, of course, is that Anthony Edwards is still unavailable. Naz Reid been playing through an injury, ankle. I think it was a shoulder before. This is a new one, right? If I'm not mistaken. This is now an ankle. He was playing with a shoulder that wasn't very. He was kind of sputtering as well. He kind of had that. He kind of had that Tari Easton disease going. He's another guy who's been pretty bad of late. Portland, V. Krejci is officially questionable. Shaden Sharp is out. Otherwise, they are pretty clean. 2 big boys. We got Klingon going at Gobert. 2 old school big boys up front as far as playing the 5. Dosunmu still projects pretty good. Bones projects as an interesting cheapie 6-man off the bench. Still kind of waiting for the big ragu. Dante DiVincenzo to take advantage of the absence of Ant. Randall certainly projects as one of the better big spends in the slates. We've seen Denny Avdia come back of late. He was dealing with that back not too long ago. How are you seeing Portland and Minnesota?
Yeah, I think obviously the Naz Reid Q tag is still hovering here. If he's also out, that's gonna, with Anthony Edwards off the floor this season, Naz Reid 24% usage rate. So if you take that off the floor as well, we could see some really increased usage rates for a lot of these guys. You mentioned DiVincenzo. He really hasn't benefited much with Anthony Edwards off the floor, 18% usage rate compared to right around like 17.8 normally. So yeah, in theory, like you would think that DiVincenzo would be a guy that would step in there, take some more shots, especially take some threes. Obviously, still some volatility with the 3-point game there, but I mean he has taken 7+ threes, 6+ threes in 4 straight games. But nonetheless, I would still have expected more usage there, especially understanding that Ant's going to be out for a couple of weeks. Maybe he would be looking to be a bit more aggressive. He was okay last game, but certainly not something that at 6K or so. Yeah, 6K on DraftKings, 26 DK points. You're certainly not excited about that. But I mean, I would still think that there's maybe a little bit more in the tank there, but not super optimistic there. I think my favorite play from Minnesota is going to be Bones Highland here. He projects really well over the past couple of games. Minutes have been pretty solid in between 25 and 29 minutes. 25% usage last game, 27% 2 games ago. Back-to-back games with 18+ points. Back-to-back games with 12+ shot attempts. So again, he's probably a guy who you're going to need some really solid scoring from to really pay off. I do think that he does have some, assist upside. I don't think it's anything all that crazy. I think it's higher than what we've seen in the last couple of games, but not anything that's going to, I think wow us outside of like an outlier ceiling game. But nonetheless, I think he could easily go out there and score 20+ points any given night, especially in this role. 21.5% usage rate with no Anthony Edwards on the floor. Io in the last 2 games with no Ant, 24% usage rate. So he also looks pretty good. I think I would probably prefer Io over DiVincenzo pretty easily in this spot. A smaller sample for Io with no Anthony Edwards, but I would still like to think that his assist and rebound rate's gonna be a little bit better. So I like him quite a bit there. Those would probably be my top 2 favorite plays, and then if not as read plays, he would be my second favorite play. But I don't have a great read on if he goes or not, but if I had to rank them, it'd be Bones, Reed, and then Io, and then Julius Randle. But if Reed's out, I think that would probably open up some things for especially a guy like Kyle Anderson there.
Yeah, I was looking at the if then, and I guess Kyle Anderson's the guy that gets the biggest bump. I still don't know if it's a good price per se. Like he's still a negative play, especially on DK. He's close to neutral on FanDuel, but I guess the prices have adjusted. Randall, the best DK value currently. You mentioned Bones. Bones a better play on FanDuel. Not just Bones, but Dosunmu. Both those guys are cheaper on FanDuel than they are on DK. We know what that means. I guess you think you're still some meat in that bone, though, for Dosunmu at 6'2" on DK. 5'7" on FanDuel feels like an awesome play. 6'2" certainly playable. I'm trying to think if he's on my main lineup or not. I don't know. That's basically his projection, like 32 points, kind of like a 5x projection, which is fine. Yeah. Is that I guess you still like Dosunmu plenty. Of course, better play on FanDuel, but ownership's going to reflect that.
Yeah, I like him quite a bit. I think, obviously when you look at on-off splits for guys, I think a lot of the data that we like to look at is with just a guy being off the floor at any given time because you have more of a sample there. But I think that when guys are just not playing at all in certain games, and especially when they're out for an extended period of time and they're kind of forced to adjust, they know they're adjusting, going into a game. I think that there is a difference there. And Io is probably the key. I guess he's like the poster child of that here. And last 2 games, we've seen his rebound rate be significantly higher than when just comparing to Anthony Edwards off the floor. So far this season, assists have looked pretty good as well. So I think he's a guy who could be outperforming not only his usage with no Ant, because so far in the 190 minutes since the trade with no Ant, 20.8% usage rate. The last 2 games, 24% usage rate. Also in those last 2 games, 14 total rebounds, 8 total assists. Obviously, we know he's a guy who can get some stocks here and there. So, yeah, I would prefer him pretty significantly over DiVincenzo just because I think he's more of a complete player. And DiVincenzo probably needs to score 20+ points to feel like he's getting there. And I think the field might be still underrating some of these peripheral stats from Io with no Anthony Edwards.
Your read as far as the centers, Klingon and Gobert, I guess it's a tough matchup for both of them, I would suppose. Any interest in Klingon or Gobert? I think Klingon, we've seen him have some monster games. Gobert, tough cover sometimes, not necessarily, but he's a big boy. But that also would sort of like guarantee him being out there. He's not going to get taken off the court. He'll stick with play 30+ minutes or so. Was it last game where he went to the bench despite absolutely crushing? I can't remember which game that was when the game kind of got small. More recently, I think they had Robert Williams out there, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, any read as far as Klingon and Gobert, both of them single digit ownership is what we're seeing right now. That's why I'm asking, like, for tournament stuff.
Yeah, I think in tournaments there's some intrigue there because I think Gobert especially would be the guy that I would prefer. I certainly prefer him over Klingon right now. And then if Reed is also out, I think that would potentially push him into the category of a guy who has really significant minute ceiling. Again, he's not going to be like a high usage guy or anything like that, but only played 28 minutes last game, almost 29, but again, blowout in that one. So I would expect that he's a guy who could go out there and play upwards of 34, 35 minutes in a close game. Looking at the first half of last game, but 8 minutes in the second quarter. And then, so he played about 17 and a half minutes in the first half. So, on that pace, 34, 35 minutes in a close game, that would look pretty good for Gobert. Klingon, like you mentioned, he's been kind of forced off the floor at times. I don't think that's a spot unless foul trouble comes in. I think they'll probably want him on the floor, but Robert Williams is certainly more than capable of handling that 5 spot as well. So, and Klingon at 7-7, I just don't have a ton of interest. I would much rather play Gobert, have him projected for like 2 points higher than Klingon and he's $500 cheaper. And then there's some cheaper centers that I also like. So Klingon's a pass for me. Gobert's a guy that I do have some interest in, and then would probably become one of my favorite centers on the board if Naz Reed's out again. Got you on mute.
My apologies. I was coughing for a second, and amateur hour over here. I think I did that yesterday too. I have my own losing streak of being on mute to 2 shows in a row. Bad job by me. By the way, we got a winner. We got a winner in the Discord channel. Winner in 2. We can keep hitting that like button. We can keep subscribing. Keep on turning those notifications. But shout out to D-Rock in the Discord for taking down today's Film Friday, and not just for taking it down, but for passing it along, paying it forward, gifting it. I believe he hooked up Gray Bill. So there you go. Gotta love seeing kindness in the Discord channel. We'll keep giving out clues if you're still playing it for fun. But all right, let's play. Coward officially ruled out as you anticipated. No surprise there. I did want to mention that somebody in chat pointed this out as well. Klingon kind of to that point about playing against Gobert and you're going to play a bunch of minutes. Played 36 against Minnesota a couple games ago and dropped a 50 spot on Rudy. So grabbed 16 boards as well. Not a ton of points. Hit a couple threes. Not a lot of shots, but of note, I suppose. There's certainly a route. Of him getting there, and he's just not going to get played, basically.
For what it's worth, no Robert Williams in that game, though. For what it's worth, I still think the case could be made for Klingon to have a ceiling minutes game, but no Robert Williams in that game.
Don Uzi wants to know what we're doing at center now. The cat is official. People will not want to play Robinson. Where should we go? Robinson still projects all right. Paul Reed would be like the obvious play if we happen to lose Duren. And I'm going to make a case for somebody in a second, but do you want to answer that question?
Yeah, I think Mitch Rob's still certainly in play. I think right now my favorite center would be one of these guys from Minnesota, either Reed or Gobert. I do think that if Reed doesn't play, Gobert could get some ownership, but I feel like people don't really like to play Rudy Gobert that much. Could be wrong, but if he's not going to be super chalky, I would like him quite a bit. But I would say one of those 2 Minnesota guys, especially if Reed's out, I would like Gobert. And then I also like Şengün quite a bit. But yeah, Mitch Rob's still in play. And then Paul Reed is like a tournament flyer.
I don't like playing Gobert a lot. Like, I just want my players to be able to hit threes, especially on DK, just to have the ability to hit threes. He's not always a lock for a double-double with the points, You get there through stocks sometimes. So I know the blocks. I've not checked recently, but I know they've been down the last couple of years for Gobert. But the price, I guess, has dwindled as well a little bit. But I'm going to make a case for somebody else here in a second. Boston's taking on Memphis, 232.5. That is the total. Boston is a 16-point favorite on the road against 10 Grizzlies that look like they're going to be suiting up tonight for Memphis. We just got Coward officially out. Would it be easier just to say who is in? Like Aldama's done for the year. Edie, we're not going to see. There's no Taj Gibson. They gave him a foot. GG, don't call him Gregory Jackson. He's out with a knee. No, he's doubtful, but he ain't playing. Pippen's out. Meshack is also out. It looks like we're looking at 10 That's what I'm seeing right now. And as far as Boston is as healthy as you're going to see him, with the exception of Vuk. Two of my favorite plays in the slate. I like Tatum. His usage is basically right where it was at last year, more or less. The minutes, he's played 30 minutes in his last 3 games. You're not going to get 36, 37, certainly not against Memphis. But even in a blowout, he played 30 minutes. I think it was last game, he played 30 minutes in a blowout, like a 20-point blowout. He didn't play the last 6 minutes or so. He would have lost some of those minutes there in the middle, but he probably could have played a couple more. I think he can get to 32, 33. The matchup, of course, against Memphis is spectacular. They are short by basketball standards. So they don't rebound the ball. You get them inside, you get them outside. They're just they play fast. They're one of the worst defensive teams in the league. And that was kind of the point I was getting at with Keita. Keita's one of my favorite plays as far as centers tonight. Memphis, one of, if not the worst rebounding team in basketball. I think their defensive rebounding percentage is like 61% in their last 15 games, which is 3 percentage points worse than the second worst team. And that happens when you're playing a 6'7" center. That's going to happen. And Keita is one of the better offensive rebounders in basketball. He scores like 85% of his points in the paint. And if there's a comp, right? What team is kind of like Memphis, right? Where they're sort of short, they're terrible defensively, they're terrible inside, they can't rebound. Washington, right? And we just saw, and I'm not saying this is the reason why it's going to happen, but we just saw Keita just absolutely annihilate Washington, put up a big score against them. What was that game? Let me give it a scroll. Yeah, in 31 minutes, with 24 and 10. He also beat up on Philadelphia when they were without Embiid, and I think Bona was out of that game too, if not mistaken. He can take advantage of. The point is, he can take advantage of inferior front lines, and this Memphis team is absolutely inferior. So, Keita is one of my favorite plays on the slate. I'm going to almost definitely play a Celtic on every team, even if this game blows out. If I have the money, I like Tatum. I'm fine with Brown. I feel like Tatum and Brown are similar. I'm probably not going to get the Brown. And then I think Keita is a really good stopping point. I don't mind Pritchard off the bench. He'll be probably the last man out in a potential blowout. I know you're the analyst. I'm sorry. I just want to get out my Boston stuff. I'll throw it to you. My apologies. But, you tell me how you're feeling about that. I sell you, or you're already on Keita. How do you feel about Boston and the Grizz? Boston, the biggest team total on the board, 124. They're going to score a lot of points.
Yeah, I mean, I think you did. Sell me. You made a good pitch there. I'll add to your point. Actually, when Keita had his biggest rebounding performance of the season a couple months back against Denver, when they were without Jokic, without Joe Val. So again, very small. That's back when they're playing a lot of Aaron Gordon at the 5. 20 rebounds in that one. Only had 6 points there, but a 20 rebound performance. We've certainly seen the ceiling there. The one issue that I would have is potential blowout, but again, he's probably not a guy that's going to project for big minutes anyway. So if he is a guy who's going to normally play 28, 29 minutes, maybe a few more, and he plays 25, 26, he can still get there in comparison. And the price tag is certainly fine. So yeah, I think Keita would also be a good name to put on that center list. Also a little bit better priced on FanDuel. So I like him over there. I agree on Tatum. I mentioned this last time I was on the show. I was wrong about Tatum coming back and looking as good as he has. I think I don't know if I think he's a top play tonight specifically, because again, if this game goes sideways, he's the first one they're like, get on the bench, take a seat, because obviously at any chance they get to rest Tatum, they're going to certainly do that. I think they do want to get him to shake the rust off if there is any, but if this game goes sideways, he'll probably be the first one that they think about getting some rest to. So I think he projects fine. He projects right around like a 5x player, a little bit better than that, but maybe not like a top play on the board for me, especially in that price range. On the Memphis side, the only guy that I have any interest in is Ty Jerome, and I do agree. You mentioned Tim's point. Obviously, Tim's super sharp. I think he nailed it there. You're just never going to get any more than 24, 25 minutes for him. But, Jerome can score 28 points in 24 minutes and then do all the other things too with assists and rebounds and stuff. So you still need a ceiling game there, and he is at 6'9", so he's certainly not a great play, projection-wise, but I think a guy who's going to be sub 10% owned, he'd be the only Memphis name that I can really get behind, and that's not to say that he's a top play on the board by any means, but probably my favorite Memphis guy.
Yeah, I just have a hard time playing Jerome when he's that expensive and that limited as far as his minutes, but he's been really, really awesome. There's no denying that. And the only counter for the Tatum thing, I agree. Like, why would you play him a bunch of minutes? He played 31 against Golden State in a blowout. I think that was a national TV game on ESPN, if I'm not mistaken. I could be making that up, but I feel like that was national TV. If that matters or not. But he's played 31, 32, 32 in his last 3 games. Two were not necessarily blowouts. One was. But I think he plays like at least 28. And also it's kind of baked into the price. And shout out J3 for smashing UCF money line. I cannot condone that per se, but I'm rooting for you. I'm definitely rooting for you if nothing else. Okay, that is the end of the DK slate. We have crunch time coming on in 10 minutes or so. We might have time actually for some questions as well. I do want to touch on the last game on the FanDuel slate. But before we do that, I should mention PickLabs. PickLabs, the newest RotoGrinders feature, lets you scan the best player prop and pick'ems, and the bets in just seconds. Everything is broken down for you: edges, win rates, to value. When you look at PickLabs, you're going to be looking at a clean board. It's going to show the plays that actually stand out across sportsbooks, not just sportsbooks, but also sites like Underdog and Prize Picks. When you see something you like, PickLabs is going to go ahead and build that slip and send it straight to the book of your choice. PickLabs is available at rotogrinders.com/PickLabs. I do see we have a poll right now. The producer Steve is saying, is UCF upsetting UCLA tonight in the poll? Well, of course they are. I guess so. Sure, why not? I mean, there's no harm in saying yes, right? I don't have to actually bet it. I think they're getting 6. Yeah, I think they're getting 6, so it's in play. I did see producer Steve say that New York's going to beat Brooklyn by 40. That is a bold proclamation. Usually Steve is like besmirching his own team. I don't know if this is like an emotional hedge or a reverse emotional hedge. Why do we have New York by 40 tonight, Steve? Why is that your inclination? Because the line's only like 18 or so. It's just still pretty bad.
I have no reason why. Mikal Bridges revenge night. Maybe he'll score like 40. Now that Cat's in, it kind of changes things. I don't know.
Did he leave under bad circumstances, Bridges? I don't recall. I feel like it wasn't anything.
No, it wasn't. No, it's not like an angry revenge. He was traded kind of fairly. I think he wanted out.
Yeah.
To play with his boys from Villanova.
Speaking of, Villanova blew it, right? I think they lost.
Oh, yep. Did they? I hope. Oh, man.
They lost by 10 to Utah State. I don't know what happened. Weren't they up by 10 at some point?
They were up by like 4 last time I checked. That's sad.
Yeah, tough scene for Villanova. All right. Oh, I should also mention NASCAR. NASCAR's back. NASCAR projections are live for the 2026 season, including projections from RotoDoc and Stevie TPFL. You'll get access to articles and videos on RG breaking down each and every race. The Lineup HQ Optimizer, it's going to come preloaded with player and ownership projections for trucks, NOAPS, and Cup Series. Additionally, you'll get access to Stevie's betting picks, as well as the exclusive access to the NASCAR channel in the RotoGrinders Discord. We never revealed the third clue, but it wasn't necessary. I guess people, like, once they realized the game was over, they stopped hitting that like button. Either way, you don't mind. Just give it a nudge. Get a little nudge. Hit that like button. It does help us keep the old lights on. The last game here, it is FanDuel only. We got Joker and Denver Nuggets taking on Toronto. 239.5 is the total. Denver is a 7-point home favorites. Jamal Murray taking on his home country. Who's in? Who's out? Oh, there we go. The third clue. For people that are still playing along, Fight was the third clue. Toronto CMB is officially doubtful. And again, this is only FanDuel, but we do want to acknowledge the existence of this game. And Denver, nothing of note for Denver except Peyton Watson. They say soon, but not tonight. But he's officially out. Do you have the salary for Joker on FanDuel is the question, because I don't think he's going to get rostered a heck of a lot.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I think there's a good amount of the centers that we've already touched on that are a little bit cheaper. Like Cade is cheaper on FanDuel. Gobert is only 6.6 on FanDuel. Nasri's 5.3. So some of these centers are pretty cheap, pretty affordable. There are some options for salary relief, but not a ton. I think probably the best value on the board on FanDuel is probably Bones or Landry Shamet, and Paul Reed is the center, so you can't really include him in the conversation there. So yeah, I would say there's probably not a ton of value to where the 13K price tag is easy to get to. So yeah, I would assume he's probably gonna be pretty low owned, but yeah.
We currently have our FanDuel projections. We have Quickly at 28%, Barrett 23, Ingram 22, Murray 15, Joker 13. Yeah, so that's pretty low for a 6-gamer, but it does kind of make sense when you sort of figure out the build. Yeah, Landry Shaman being asked about there by producer Steve in chat. He is one of the cheaper plays, but potentially on DK. I'm not saying I'm thrilled about playing him, but he's in the pool of salary savers. Okay. Crunch time's coming in a few minutes, by the way, just a heads up on that. Just a little reiteration. Do you have a favorite play or two on the slates, Kyle? And then you know what? You want to give me like a bronze, a silver, and a gold. The gold being a plum. Who's your top plays as far as the slate tonight?
Yeah, I think for a gold, I guess I'll treat it as more of like a potentially contrarian option, I suppose. I think I'll go with Bones Highland. I think he's just the guy who I'm most looking at from a value perspective. That is just the one of the better plays in the board. For a silver, like I guess I'll maybe treat that as like a top spend up option that I prefer on this slate. And in that case, I'll go with Şengün. I like him quite a bit. There are some centers that I do potentially like, but obviously on DraftKings you could fit a couple of those guys in there. And then for my bronze play, I'll go with I'm going back to Jordan Clarkson. Yeah, not as good of a play now with Cat in, but all the projections that I was rattling off earlier on Clarkson is still the same. Right around 19-20 minutes is probably where he's going to like median project, and then I think that there's some upside to play a couple minutes there in the blowout, maybe even more so now with Cat involved. So I'll go with Jordan Clarkson as my my bronze there. I will say though, if Naz Reid is out, Rudy Gobert slots in over Şengün as my silver.
Yeah, I like that call. What is that? A fourth clue dropping? I only see 3. Is that a different noise? Was there something?
No, that was just an air horn for Kyle's Plums play.
I thought maybe we got like Jalen Duren rolled out or something like that, but okay, fair enough. Keep an eye on that because we're less than an hour away. Why don't we know about Jalen Duren?
We need your Plums play, and I'll play an air horn too.
Well, I mean, I'm my plum play is going to be Neemias Queta. There you go. I gave the pitch earlier.
I like it.
Drop the fourth and fifth clue for those that are still playing. I know crunch time's coming in a second. We already got a winner. We'll explain that in a second. We'll drop 4 and 5. In the Discord channel, that's where you guys are going to be firing for questions for Noto and Kirkdiese in a second. But there is a question already banked. Jim wants to know, Kyle. He wants to know about thoughts on Grant today. I assume that's not Nefer. I assume he's asking about Grant on Portland. We're talking about Jeremy Grant, I presume.
Yeah. If you want my thoughts on Grant Nefer, it's give me about 8 or 9 days, and then that he'll be the only person I'm thinking of in the world because of all his home run plays. So I know the people are itching for that. And as
I've got some bangers.
Exactly. Yeah. I can't wait to hear that. So that's only a week and a half, 2 weeks maybe away. So looking forward to that. But in terms of Jeremy Grant, we did get news that Vit Krejci is out.
Yeah.
That could potentially give Jeremy Grant another minute or two in terms of, I think I bumped him up half a minute, but maybe the game plays out in a way where it's close, competitive, and they want to give him a few extra minutes. So I think there is a ceiling there for him. Again, another guy needs to go out there and score 20 plus to pay off that price tag. But I would say he's a fine tournament play, but not someone that I'm slamming into lineups by any means.
Kyle, it's sneaking up on us. You said a week and a half. It's 6 days till opening day.
Oh, is it
the Yankees and the Giants play on Wednesday night, like one game, and then Thursday afternoon they play. So yeah.
Is that in like the American game? Are they doing like an early, like how they did Japan last year? Or did they get rid of that?
It's a good question. I was confused why they picked San Francisco, and I just assumed they're playing in San Francisco, but I don't know. But it's on Netflix. It's a Netflix game. The Yankees and San Fran are playing Wednesday night. Do you know this, Steve?
It's the night before opening night, so I assume it's literally in the USA. It's only one
Yeah,
night before.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
insane. Because last year they had like the game a week before, and the 26th just seems so early to me for some reason. I think in my brain, like I always think like April is like when baseball starts, but now it's like they've just like moved it up so much. And I know last year it was like they had the Japan series like
Yeah,
a week and a half before the season started. So
Dodgers. That's where Mookie Betts got ill.
yep.
And he lost like 20 pounds or so, and he probably lingered the entire season.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not happening as far as I know. You said, we know Grant. Grant's got some bangers. Do you have your version of bangers? Are you gonna have bangers of some sort in SAO?
Oh yeah, I'll have some bets throughout the season for sure. My favorite way to bet MLB in like a fun way for the upside is strikeout ladders. So
Yeah,
I'm sure I will have plenty of those throughout the year. I don't have a fun name for it yet, but
the gimmick
maybe
for it. Yeah,
maybe one day I'll earn that right.
I've got some ladders. I don't know if that has the same ring to it. Let us know in chat.
I'm gonna get a cease and desist from Grant's people if I do that.
Does he have all of them copywritten? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, he's got to. My favorite part about Grant's videos is he sometimes wears his hat that says "nutted" on it. and I think there's been at least like 2 or 3 times where I've just screenshot it and text it to him, like just the picture, because I just think that is like the funniest shit ever. But yeah,
he's got another hat that talks about Carol Baskin. Remember we cared about Carol Baskin for a week or two during COVID?
We had an AI picture of Grant like with the nutted hat with Pete Alonso just wearing the nutted hat.
That's awesome.
It was in a Mets jersey though, so I had to delete it, because now he's gone. But it was so funny.
Did you guys know when Chuck Norris goes swimming, the sharks get out of the ocean? You guys aware of that? I got bored.
Figured, yeah.
You just assumed.
Yeah, I just assumed that one. Yeah.
He doesn't do push-ups. He pushes the world down, Chuck Norris. So today's Movie Monday, as we seamlessly segue to Crunch Time coming in here. They're on deck. They'll be here in a second. But we had 5 clues: wedding, comedy, fight, pretend, Sandman. I couldn't like full on blatantly homage Chuck Norris. I don't want to make it too obvious, but he does kind of factors into this one. There is a wedding that happens in this movie. People are not necessarily wanting to get married, but they have to for reasons. If you've seen it, I don't want to spoil it, but whatever. For insurance purposes, it's a comedy. There's a fight, and fight's kind of a double clue because they're firefighters. And also there is actually a fight. I don't recall if it was Chuck or Larry, but one of Chuck or Larry gets into a fight. They pretend to be a couple. This will be Kevin James and clue number 5, the Sandman, Adam Sandler. Homage to Chuck Norris, at least in the name. I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry. That is the name of our movie. And maybe, just maybe, Noto can give his review, his 30-second review, because I think he may have seen it, possibly, maybe. I know we've seen a lot of the Sandler movies, but that's our tease, the Crunch Time. They're coming in right now. Let's do it. Crunch Time. As Notorious seen, I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry, today's film.
I feel like I've seen half of it, maybe.
Yeah, it's enough.
Yeah.
You got the gist, and I get it.
Yeah, they got married or something, and then I was like, okay, yeah, that's good.
I think Kevin James got hurt in a fire, and he needed some insurance, and he was widowed, so some sort of paper mishap, and he was not covered, so he needed to be married to it was some kind of loophole, and Adam Sandler, either Chuck or Larry, was a good friend, say, hey, let's get married in Canada, and hijinks ensues. I haven't seen it in forever. I don't know. I picked something with Chuck Norris related, even though it wasn't exactly Chuck Norris. I figured dodgeball would be too easy. How are things otherwise, Noto? Everything all right?
Yeah, doing good. It's like 75 degrees in Utah, so enjoying some sun. Went golfing yesterday. Feeling good. March Madness, it's a great time.
How's the golf game?
Golf game was in decent shape, actually. Better than my golf lineups, like always. But,
yeah. Are we already dead as far as getting all 6 through?
One guy every week. So yeah, we're dead. Mac Meisner was this week. But other than that, I think I got 1 6-6, so maybe I can pull a miracle.
Is that must have been a cheapie? I've never heard of that guy. Is that somebody in the
kind of a crappy field? So yeah, he was cheap.
Kirkwood, how are things? Happy Friday.
All right. I lost on Villanova. That was just tilting.
Same.
But I did hit my 10-point early lead cash out. One of those gimmicks that they have on FanDuel. So I got a nice plus 600 through on Hofstra. So that was nice. But I'm buried. I love the tournament, but I do this every year. I throw so much money in like the first game, and like at Ohio State I lost, and it's every year, and then I'm like forever chasing. It's like it's
UCF's right there.
It's a tale as old as time.
UCF is right there, about 20 minutes away.
I bet UCLA. So you're.
Oh no! How dare you? I'm right here.
You're probably good. You want me on
You're the Bush.
College. I might be for college. Until we get deep, until I get a feel for the whole,
Fair enough. All right. Myself and Kyle, we appreciate y'all watching. Hit that like button, do subscribe. Turn on notifications. You got 40 minutes of crunch time. I'll hit the 7:30. We're still on a Jalen Duren watch. What is up with Detroit? They still not told us as far as what's going on there. I guess we'll know when the
Nas read out.
Yeah,
okay.
We just got the nasty Nas news.
That's a big one. That certainly matters there for Minnesota. Bump up Gobert a little bit. But all right. You guys will let people know. I imagine in 10 minutes when the lineups come out, if Jalen Duren is in or not. If he's not, it'll be Paul Reed season. That was Kyle. I was Dean. This is Noto. Take it away.
Yeah, what is up, everybody? Welcome to Crunch Time. Here with my boy Kirk. What's going on, my dude? What's up, chat?
Woo!
And, a little woo going for the people. Any generational bets tonight that aren't college basketball?
Generational losers? No, none. We'll see if some come to me along the way. It's usually how they happen, and maybe a legacy bet.
Was that you or was that?
Yeah, how you doing? That was Stevie.
Nice. Yeah, doing good. Happy Friday, everybody. Interesting NBA slate tonight. We got 6 games on DraftKings. No, six games on FanDuel, 5 games on DraftKings. And once again, we got the Wolves in a good spot without Nas Reed, without Anthony Edwards. So I think we're going to be talking about them a lot tonight. And how do you feel about tonight's NBA slate? And sorry about your college basketball so far, but hey, you can always win it back,
Yes, I can. There's always a new day, and we got UFC early tomorrow, so I got plenty of options to fire. All right, yeah, this slate's okay. There's not like a ton of high price studs or what. There's like Jalen Johnson like leading the way. The Duren news is huge. Nas Reed came through. Doesn't quite really move the needle a ton, but it definitely creates a little more value. But the main value was created already with Anthony Edwards out. But and then we've got the NBA AIDS game of this time right now, Boston and Memphis. Probably blowout city, I would imagine. And then we do get a nice game, kind of nice. I think Toronto-Denver should be pretty good, I think. And Atlanta-Houston is a pretty good real-life game too. But it'll be interesting to talk this through and see how we're going to end up making our lineups.
Yeah, I am Steve in the chat. Says, who's betting college basketball? When we have Miami Open tennis to bet. I'm right there with it, man. I love this event. I've got money on plenty of matches. So, doing well over in the tennis street.
Send me a bone.
All right.
I'll tail anything. I'll even tail Lippy in chat if he's in here.
And hey, my college basketball bets are 4-0 on SAO today. So
they are. I didn't. You know what? The SAO buried me yesterday, so I didn't look today.
That's how it goes, man. But yeah, I think it's a Wolves slate. The only news we're waiting on, we got Jalen Duren. Should get here in the next few minutes. Kevin Huerter, and I think that's it. A couple guys are doubtful. Taj Gibson, Gigi Jackson, but not expecting them to play. So should have a pretty clean picture of the slate. As always, if you have any questions, fire them up in the live stream chat channel on Discord, or you can fire them up in the YouTube channel. But if you want your question asked first, get it in that Discord channel. All right, my dude, let's head to DraftKings point guard. Who are some of your favorite plays over there?
We got to talk about Jenkins, right? With Cade out, he didn't quite do as great as we were hoping against Washington. 34 minutes. He kind of played a facilitator role, and but he's because he couldn't shoot. He did take a bunch of shots. He could not hit anything. He did bang a couple of threes, but yeah, that was a disappointing start. I'm lukewarm on him. I think he's probably good. I think the Warriors play some decent defense. And then so I'm like lukewarm on him because there are other options that they showed with like LeVert. Then from there, I think Peyton Pritchard is a really good play tonight against Memphis. I think they like when they blow out teams, they tend to let him rip, and he loves putting it on. And that price just seems pretty appealing at 6,100. I know Tatum's back, could be a Brown game, obviously for like MVP reasoning if he thinks he still has a chance. But yeah, Pritchard I like a lot. Amen Thompson I like. Interested to hear your Bones Highland. I was going to total fade him if Nas was playing, just because just another body there, and because of the ownership. But now I'm kind of thinking like maybe I have to play him for value, unless we get this Paul Reed situation if Durant is out. But yeah, I kind of want to fade him, but I think he's okay. Man, I don't want to play Ty Jerome at 6,900 on a minutes limit, but the dude just crushes every single time. So, but this is the Celtics, so I don't think he'll crush tonight. And then I don't know. It's kind of gross point guard, to be honest with you, but maybe Holiday, maybe McCollum. But what are you thinking?
Yeah, I kind of like Ty Jerome and large field stuff. I mean, like you mentioned, the dude's just been balling. He's had 40 plus in 3 of his last 4. It is the Celtics for sure. He is on a minutes limit, but he's averaging 1.57 DraftKings points per minute. Just unreal efficiency out of the dude. Not what I was expecting heading into the season. So I don't mind looking there at less than 10% ownership. Yeah, I'm going right back to Jenkins. 33 minutes last night was really all I needed to see playing at home. I'll sign up for that. I like Bones Highland too. You mentioned would have been an interesting fade if Nas would have played, but and he's going to see minutes in the mid to upper 20s against Portland at home at 4.7. He's averaged close to a fantasy point per minute this season. So I think you just kind of play the obvious chalk there. Amen Thompson's interesting, 42 plus in 7 of his last 9 games. So he's got a really high floor in a matchup against Atlanta. I think those 3 up top are the clear guys. And then I don't know if I want to play anybody else. Like DiVincenzo has been so bad, but he's a way to get different on the Wolves. Do you have any interest in him?
I kind of do. The thing about like hold on one second. The thing about Portland is that they have like a bunch of really good defenders, but they don't defend well as a team for some crazy reason. Yeah, I think that they could end up locking some of the other guys down. I think he'll probably get the easiest matchup, and so I could see that. And plus, you're getting the lowest ownership from him. That's a good way to play it on a smaller slate here without a ton of great guard options. So I like that call.
All right, let's move over to shooting guard. Who do you like on DraftKings over there?
All right. First and foremost, I already said Peyton Pritchard, but I do love him. I think Jalen could go nuts in this game. And sometimes the Celtics will play down the competition, but I don't think that's going to be the case here. Memphis is just brutal. But, there aren't a lot of studs tonight, so certainly he could go off. CJ McCollum, I mentioned. Bones Highland, I mentioned. I think this game is going to play pretty competitively, this Portland-Minnesota game. So people are lining up for Minnesota plays, but aren't really playing a ton of the Portland guys. So I think like Kamara could be interesting. I'm out on Tari Eason. That dude just can't hit a damn shot for the life of him, and his confidence is gone. But yeah, I don't know. Those are the guys I was thinking. Maybe Ayo Dosunmu.
Yeah, I think he's probably my favorite of the bunch. Coming off a 50 fantasy point game against the Jazz, and he only played 27 minutes. That game kind of turned into a blowout. I think he could play like 30 to 34 maybe. In the last 2 games, he had 33 minutes against the Suns, 32 minutes against the Thunder. So definitely a guy that benefits with Anthony Edwards out. You mentioned Jaylen Brown. I just worry about that game being competitive. I could see the Celtics getting up big and then kind of sitting their guys in the fourth quarter. So I like the Minnesota duo in Highland and Dosunmu. Do you have any interest in Chalky Landry Shamet, who can't score 20 fantasy points?
No, I don't. I mean, he's cheap, but no, I don't really want to play him.
I'm kind of with you. I think Karis LeVert's an interesting pivot away from Dennis Jenkins. Put up 32 the other night, and he actually sees the biggest usage boost and fantasy point per minute boost with Cunningham off the floor. So I think he's interesting. And that's pretty much it for me. Let's move over to small forward. Who do you like there?
All right. So small forward, I like Denny Avdia a lot. The price just seems too low right now. So this is where we get interesting because I like Kevin Durant too because I just like the competitive atmosphere of this game. Man, did you? He played so poorly, getting double teamed in his last couple of games that I felt really bad for him. But I think he should be fine in this matchup with Atlanta. I think Jaden McDaniels is in play. RJ Barrett. He's not. He's on the FanDuel slate, but he's someone I was looking at. Sorry, I have them blended right now. Ayu Dosunmu, Dyson Daniels, maybe. It's really just the top end spends that I like Avdia and Kevin Durant. So them, and then other than that, I think Jaden McDaniels is a good play, especially with Nas out.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like Avdia quite a bit. Makes sense as a natural bring back if you're playing a bunch of Wolves. Coming off of his best game since coming back from injury, I will play some of him. Like he was priced well in the 9s, before he got hurt. I take the discount there. I'm kind of with you. I don't know what to do with Kevin Durant, but it feels like at least one of the big three from Houston is going to have a big game in Şengün, Thompson, or Durant. So I don't mind making a rule of lineup HQ to have at least one of those three in each lineup. I talked about Karis LeVert a little bit. I think Jaden McDaniels has a higher minute floor now that Nas Reed is out. And then Dosunmu's there. Again, my favorite play from the Wolves tonight, other than Julius Randle. So that should just about do it. Let's move over to power forward. Loving the special effects tonight. We got Kyle Anderson revenge game. Do you like him? And who are your other favorite power forwards?
Nah, I'm not a big slow-mo guy. 4,500. I mean, we've got plays like we've got I like Bones Highland better. So I just don't really want to go there. I get the pivot play, but it's a little too thin for me. Randall, I love. Avdia again, I love. Tatum is fine. Jalen Johnson, I like a lot, even against Houston's D. But Houston hasn't been as good lately. And plus, someone in chat said the way to get my money back was a Jalen Johnson triple-double. Parlayed. I didn't catch the rest of the parlay with Northern Iowa. I like. All right, let's do that. I'm in. But Porzingis 6,200 is going to be popular ownership, and he's the guy who's just been beasting when he's been out on the court. It's just how big is the ceiling, especially against Detroit? I think a lot of that hangs on Duren too. So, but I get the play. Like we're kind of scraping here for some things. So don't mind that. Draymond Green gets the homecoming 5,500. I don't know. Do you like Scotty Barnes at all?
I always have a tough time.
That's FanDuel. I'm sorry. I keep going back.
I always have a tough time with the Raptors anyway when everybody's healthy. Mr. Irrelevant in the chat was saying it was a revenge game, and I kind of just said it without thinking, but Kyle Anderson never played for the Blazers, right?
Yeah, I have no idea if he was maybe drafted by them or something, but not that I know of.
Whoever you want.
Other power forwards. I like Julius Randle, have him tagged as a core play. We talked about Avdia. Jeremy Grant's a guy that I'm never excited to play, but he's had 30+ in 4 of his last 8 games, so he's been playing pretty well. yeah, we're kind of waiting on the Detroit thing. I think Ronald Holland could be interesting if Duran's out. Do you prefer Tatum or Jaylen Brown or neither from Boston?
I prefer Pritchard, my number one Celtic. If I was playing one of these guys, I think both of them could have big games. I think Jalen is probably the one that makes the most sense. He has a little bit more minutes upside, but Tatum's been playing like 31 minutes now, and he looks absolutely legit. I can't believe how he looks actually already. I could get behind it, but I prefer. So it's Pritchard, Jalen, and then Tatum. Actually, Keita would be I'd put Keita number 2.
And I was mixing up. Wait, what were we just talking about? Anyway,
Celtics or Kyle Slow-mo.
Yeah, I was just saying I couldn't have been more wrong on Tatum's minutes when he first came back. I thought for sure he was going to play like 14 minutes for a couple weeks, but they just came out giving him a bunch of minutes. He's looked great, like you mentioned. So I think I do prefer him over Jaylen Brown, although Brown's been crushing, and I just keep fading him. So not sure what to do there. Okay, let's move over to the center. If Duran is out, I think you just lock in Paul Reed. If Duran's active, great spot for him. He sees a nice usage boost without Cade Cunningham on the floor. Now you have Rudy Gobert in a good spot without Naz Reid. He's coming off a back-to-back 40-plus fantasy point games.
Duran's playing. We just got the news.
Okay, so I think he's one of the better tournament plays on the board. We don't have a ton of value. I guess we do a little bit now on Minnesota, but I think he's one of the better options, especially since we can only roster, 2 centers on DraftKings and 1 on FanDuel. So are you playing Duran, or who do you prefer at center? He's
a great player. I'm always looking to play him. And that's with Cade out, he's going to have some monster games. It's going to happen. So I like Gobert at 7,200. I like Şengün. I like Keita at 5,900 for like a way to get cheaper. And I like Duran. So it's really, I'd probably be starting my lineups with either Gobert, Şengün, or Duran. And just give me Duran actually above all of them.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think Duran's my favorite as well. Rudy Gobert, probably a close second. I think it might be a 2 center night for me on DraftKings, but Mitrov's kind of interesting at 4,300 if you want to get a little different. I do think they're going to run away with that game, so that could be good I think he's going to see 20-plus minutes regardless. And Brooklyn, one of the worst rebounding teams in the league. They're missing some bigs too.
They're so bad against centers, so bad.
They are.
They're just undersized everywhere, no matter where they go, even Claxton.
Yeah, Brooklyn, Memphis, and Washington, the 3 teams you want to load up on for front courts. What about Şengün at 8,600? One of the better matchups on the board.
Prices come down a bit. He had a couple of
ownership.
Yeah, I'm in.
I think he's interesting for sure. Okay, we got about 22 minutes until lock. Plenty of time. Let's move it over to FanDuel. Do a quick ad read real quick. So we'll talk about PickLabs. It is the newest RotoGrinders feature that lets you scan the best player prop and pick 'em bets in seconds. Everything's broken down for you, from edges to win rates to value to clean board showing which plays actually stand out across sports books and sites like Underdog and Prize Picks. When you see something you like, PickLabs builds a slip and sends it straight to the book of your choice. You can find PickLabs at rotogrinders.com/PickLabs. You'll be wondering why this wasn't a thing already. It's something that I use every day, especially now with the prediction markets available in Utah, which has been a lot of fun. So check out PickLabs if you haven't already. Okay, let's talk about FanDuel. We do have the extra game on this slate. It's Toronto and Denver. Some interesting plays over there, but it is kind of tough to fit Jokic with not a ton of value tonight. But we'll talk about that position by position. Let's start at point guard. Who do you like?
Shout out to Kevin Roth, who is no longer here, but I would be singing "Boom, boom, 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 boom" with him for Bone Thugs. But so Bones Highland, just because he's so cheap, 4,400, and like I said, I was going to fade him because of the ownership if Nas played, but with Nas out, he's just going to have free reign of the second unit to Chuck. So I like him for value. I like, now that it's FanDuel, I do like Jamal Murray tonight. He's a little expensive, effective, but think he could absolutely have a ceiling game in this spot. I like Io DeSumo. I like Dante DiVincenzo. I like Jenkins again, although a little more expensive, 6,600. He's not a smash of all smashes like we thought he was going to be, but and they did go to Levert more, but like you said, the minutes were there, so that's encouraging, and so absolutely could be just a little bit of a lagging effect, and now he'll have a big game tonight. Other interesting, I'm always interested a little bit on Dyson Daniels on FanDuel because of the stocks upside, and quickly could be pretty good in this game against Denver, so I'm interested there. And then Pritchard, I like, but he's not. I don't like his price is just so damn nice over on DraftKings. That kind of takes some of the risk off. 6,700 is a little more risk, especially with the scoring. For him, he'll get some steals here and there, but he's not going to be blocking any shots like Derek White or anything. But think he's definitely should be pretty low owned on FanDuel.
All right, we did get some news. Rupert is out for Memphis. They also ruled out Cedric Coward earlier. So they had
and Taj.
So we had them projected for 11 guys, and now they're down to 9, and 2 of those players are Giroux and Burton, who have not played a ton of minutes. So I do think we're going to have a much tighter rotation. Jerome, Clayton, Wells, Hendricks, Prosper, Spencer, and Small. I think all of them are going to have a path. Maybe not Jerome, but everyone else is probably going to have a path to 28 to 30 minutes. I think they are a lot more interesting now. But it is the Celtics, so even if they play minutes, there's still some paths to failure there. But I do think Memphis is a lot more interesting. And then, my favorite plays a point guard. I like DeSumo. I like Bones Highland. We've talked about them quite a bit. DiVincenzo, even cheaper over here. So another interesting spot to get different with Minnesota. And who's your favorite Raptor if you have to choose one for FanDuel?
Let's take a look here. So Toronto, it might end up being quickly actually, but all right. So I think it's a good. Well, who are they going to put Aaron Gordon on? Scotty Barnes, probably.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then I like Ingram.
Or Ingram.
But yeah, exactly. It's going to be one of those two. So if I made a bet and thought that they were going to be on, he'll put him on Scotty, then I like Ingram, then I like Quickly, and then I like Barrett. And if it's vice versa and they put him on Ingram, then I'd rather go with Scotty. I would boost Scotty up, and he'd probably be my favorite in that case. But that's the way I'm looking at it. So I guess I'm leaning that they'll put him on Scotty.
I think I'm leaning Quickly as my favorite. I don't know. Point guards just tend to have better matchups against Denver. So, but point guard's pretty loaded also. So I'm not sure I'm going to get to anybody from Toronto tonight on FanDuel. Let's talk about shooting guard. Who do you like there?
All right, shooting guard. We've got Jamal Murray is shooting guard eligible. I like that. Amen Thompson, I like. Price seems fine. 8,600. I think that game is going to be pretty fun. Houston, Atlanta. Quickly and RJ, both in play. Like I said, if you're preferring Quickly, I can totally get behind that. Jalen, I think could have a good game, and we don't have a ton of studs, but probably not going to go too heavy. He won't make my one lineup just because of the blowout concerns, but man, he could go off. Derek White, 7,800, and this is a stocks game for him, for as long as he's going to be playing. So I could see that working out. So I just talked myself actually into Derek White on FanDuel here for that. And then Jenkins still in play and Ty Jerome still in play, and capped minutes, but like we said, he just gets it done every time he's out there.
Okay, we got news. Kevin Huerter is out. So a few more minutes open up on the wing for Detroit. As far as shooting guard, yeah, I'm kind of with you. I like Dosunmu. I think Karis LeVert even more interesting now. He's 4,100 on FanDuel, pretty cheap. I think he's 4,300 on DraftKings. So one of my favorite value plays on the board. Definitely prefer him over Shamit if you're playing tournaments. I just don't think Shamit has much of a ceiling. You have Ahmed Thompson. Oscar Thompson's a little bit more interesting now as well. He's a guy that, can put up points pretty quickly. He just needs the minutes, and maybe he'll have a path to 30 minutes tonight. With Herder out, that's pretty much it for me at shooting guard. Let's move over to small forward. We have Tatum at 8,300, who I think is going to be very popular. We have him projected over 30% ownership right now. I like Jaden McDaniels at 5,800, good price point. Against Minnesota, we have your boy Kyle Anderson. We haven't projected for 24 minutes. That could be higher, could be lower. You never quite know what to expect from Slow-Mo, but he can definitely put up points quickly. Another guy that I like more than Shamit tonight. And then Karis LeVert's there. If you want to get a little different, I don't mind the Brandon Ingram call at 7,900. Who are some of your favorites?
Yeah, for the price, Jaden McDaniels, and just with the defensive stat upside at 5,800 in this spot without Nas, and he's probably going to play close to 35 minutes, somewhere around there. Giddy up. I think he could do really well. I do like Tatum's kind of cheap over here, so 8,300 you can get away with. I prefer Durant over him. 8,500 looks pretty nice. Like I could, if I do, I like Ingram because that's the way I'm gonna think that they're gonna play this. So I could be totally wrong, but my bet would be on Ingram sees a better matchup. So 7,900, like that. Good game environment. You have any love for Tobias or Oscar?
There's a few guys that I just never play. Tobias is one of them. Harrison Barnes is another. But I get the appeal. I just don't think.
I mean, he can score, and that's what they're missing with Cade. So I mean, at any time, I mean, he's like good GPP thing. I think, even though doesn't have the highest ceiling. But like at 5,500, I think there are going to be nights when he just takes over the offense, a ton of offense responsibility. I know it's kind of gross, but someone I'm definitely looking at. And Denny Avdia, more expensive over here, but will be lower owned for sure than over on DraftKings. Or no, he's not on DraftKings. Sorry.
Avdia he's on DK.
Yeah. Oh, he is on DK. What am I? Okay, the Denver game. Sorry, I keep going back.
But I don't mind the Avdia call on FanDuel as a tournament play. Same with Jalen Johnson. They'll be lower owned over here than they will on DraftKings. Okay, we got 12 minutes left. Let's cover center, and then we will answer some questions. We'll get out of here and enjoy our Friday night. At the very top, we have Rudy Gobert projecting the best in terms of the RG value. 6,600 for him. Again, he's had back-to-back 40-plus fantasy point games. He's a guy that can get a lot of blocks and steals, which is good for FanDuel. You also have Jokic on this slate. He's really the only Denver guy that I'm looking at. I haven't actually run anything. Let me see. You lock in Jokic and optimize on FanDuel. You should have a pretty good lineup. You get values like Kyle Anderson, Karis LeVert, Bones Highland. So I definitely think Jokic is more playable now that we do have some value. But yeah, who do you like at center? You can only play one here, so who's your favorite? And then some potential pivots.
I don't think we did power forward, but to be honest with you, power forward is like the exact same as small forward pretty much for the most part. So either I did small forward at the wrong time or we missed power forward, but they're pretty much all the same anyway. There's just Şengün is playable at power forward on FanDuel, which is nice. You can make some lines there, and Porzingis tag is higher. But my favorite center is, I mean, it's going to be it's just going to be Dern. Even though, like, projection wise, Rudy Gobert is going to pop as a better projection period, and he's 6,600, so I totally get that. I just like the upside with Dern, so give me that. And obviously I like the upside with the Joker if I can fit him too as well. Keita is a low-owned option, and you can play Şengün over at power forward or center. So if you play like Şengün, you need some savings, you can play Keita against Memphis. I think his minutes he's probably not going to play a ton of minutes, probably 25 plus, somewhere around there. But they're going to be very productive minutes for him. So I like that. Some people are going to play Mitch Rob, like you said, even though Cat is in. I think that's a little thin tonight. I'm just going to stay with that top range that I said. And then Paul Reed is the same thing. Was going to be major chalk and an awesome play. I think it's still a little thin, but I think he's more playable than Mitch Rob. If you needed one of these guys for cheaper.
Yeah, I think I agree. The only other play we didn't really mention, Jakob Poeltl. They're going to need his size against Jokic. He's shown some upside recently, 5,900. Do you like him at all?
Not really. I'd just rather take. I prefer Keita if I had to, and I prefer Gobert or Dern and Şengün even. So I think he's like borderline right there, but I'm not getting to him.
Okay, let's get some questions answered. We got 9 minutes left. Okay, thoughts on Jeremy Grant today?
Lukewarm.
I'm also lukewarm on that one. Okay, favorite FanDuel GPP spend, and then favorite contrarian on FanDuel.
FanDuel GPP spend? Well,
Yep.
I think I'm just going to say out of all of them, I mean, it should be Joker, but I'm going to say Jalen Johnson if you're spending there, even though Joker's probably a better play at 13K. It's just a little harder to do. So I'll tier it. So if I'm trying to go off the board a little bit for Jalen Johnson or Joker's going to be pretty low owned, don't you think? Or do you because of that price tag at 13K?
I mean, like I said, it's pretty easy to fit him right now. We're waiting on an ownership projection update. But I think he's going to be fairly low owned, at least compared to what he normally is. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll say him. And then more ownership, a little bit more ownership will be – they're both really not going to either. Jalen Duren.
Okay, any favorite value that's going to be contrarian?
It's contrarian value. Well, who are our main pieces? There's like Ayo Dosunmu. There's, I guess, how owned is Jaden McDaniels going to be? Pretty owned.
And always going to be popular.
Yeah. So I'll say.
What's Tobias?
Tobias?
10% for you.
Yeah, I could get behind that. I think he's gonna have. There's gonna be nights where he goes off. I'll say Pritchard too. So Pritchard or Tobias.
Okay, for my spend, I'm gonna go Duren. For my contrarian, I'm gonna go Walter Clayton Jr. We haven't projected for 32 minutes now, so he might get some garbage time run, even if that game turns into a blowout. Okay.
You want to know what's crazy? So they're gonna have 9 players. They're gonna have 9 players, and I bet you, like, we're gonna look at the log, and they're all gonna be like 24 minutes or whatever it is. Whatever
So
you
right
divide.
now, we have. Hold on. Okay. Sorry, I had the DraftKings open. So we have Clayton projected for 32, Hendricks for 28, Small for 28, Giroux, Wells, Prosper, Burton, Jerome, and Spencer all between 23 and 26. So some potential upside there with Clayton, maybe Hendricks, maybe Javon Small. If you had to pick one Memphis guy, who would it be?
Give me Javon Small.
Yeah, like I'm gonna go Clayton on FanDuel and Ty Jerome on DraftKings. Okay, is Duncan Robinson in play with Sasser out?
Very, very lukewarm.
Kind of with you there. Levert
and Red Velvet's out too.
Levert or Clayton Jr. on DraftKings?
Clayton Jr. I just don't think this is the matchup for Clayton Jr. I think he's you like him, so you have to sell me, or else I'd say I just take it play kind of safe, I guess, with Levert for what
I
he
like
is.
him
Although,
because we have him projected for 32 minutes. Whether he
Yeah.
gets there or not, I'm not sure. I do prefer Levert if choosing between the two. Okay, DK GPP, the last two in. You have Şengün and Holland, or Gobert and Small, or Keita and McDaniels.
I actually like the last option with McDaniels.
Okay. DK GPP, Mitch Rob, Durant, and Gobert. So Mitch Rob, Durant, Gobert, or Keita, Pritchard, and Duran.
It's the second out. It's for me. It's Keita, Duran, and Pritchard.
Okay. I'm gonna go second one as well. DK GPP, Nah, or Okongwu. I'm not really on either, but do you have a preference?
No, I don't really. I'm on neither.
Okay. FanDuel GPP, Daniels or Jerome? Dyson.
Give me Dyson Daniels.
Okay. Prosper or Scott for DraftKings GPPs?
Max. I think he could. They just don't have much for bigs, so I think he could be okay.
I agree. We did get news Reed Shepard is going to start tonight. Do you like him at all in a pace-up game?
Yeah, it's not the easiest matchup, but you give that guy minutes and he's pretty damn good. So Reed's been balling, so I like him.
Yeah, I can get behind that as well. Okay, last piece on DraftKings, Mikal Bridges, revenge game against the Nets or Jeremy Grant?
Yeah, it's like I'm lukewarm on Grant. I'm like out on Mikal Bridges until he starts playing better, but then you throw a little bit of the revenge. Maybe that wakes him up. I don't know, man. That's close. Give me Grant.
Okay, I will take Grant as well. Thoughts on Aaron Gordon, Cam Johnson, Christian Brown? I'm probably fading all of them.
Yeah, it's like I only play like Joker or Murray pretty much right now with Denver.
Okay, Flying Armbar is a man after my own heart. Thoughts on Taylor Hendricks? I can always get down with Taylor Hendricks. Always treats me well.
Yeah,
I think
tough matchup, but there's also potential garbage time for all these guys who's going to be out there. He might be. So, yeah, I think he could be fine.
Okay, we're almost to lineup block. Last piece in, Draymond, Grant, or Javon Small?
Let's go Draymond Homecoming.
Okay. I'm going to go Small, but I don't really have a strong preference there. All right, that should do it for questions unless we have any more coming in. Oh, thoughts on DeAnthony Melton for GPP?
I think it's a back-to-back for them. Is that true?
I didn't play yesterday's slate.
Hold on. Melton. I know I'm fading Melton tonight.
Okay. He has been really good. Okay, slow-mo or Mitch Robinson? I'm going to go slow-mo.
Oh, give me Mitch Robinson.
What do you have against slow-mo?
I just not for me. Just not one of my guys. He can do a little bit of everything. I don't know how many minutes he's going to get.
Okay, people need to know, who are your UFC winners?
So hold on, let me pull it up. Give me 2 seconds. I'm fading a lot of these Britain guys. So Danny Silva is like one of the first fights, which are always high variance fights, but the price is too high for him. So he's like almost he's like plus 180 right now, and so he's somebody I bet. Evloev I think he's going to win unless he gets like flash knocked out, which I don't think is a high likelihood. So Evloev is a guy I'm playing. Michael Aswell is a raw dog that I like. And Mason Jones is a play. I love Mason Jones bet. That's going to be a big Kirk bet right there.
All right, we've hit lineup lock. That means we are going to get out of here. Thanks to everyone for joining. Thanks for hitting that thumbs up button. Kirk, any final words?
No, good luck. I need to wish me luck to get my March Madness money going back on tonight.
I like all the big favorites tonight: Purdue, Florida, Kansas, UConn. So if you want to hop on those, I'm going to be on all 4 of them. And yeah, that'll do it. Appreciate everybody watching. Have a good weekend and good luck tonight.